Namaste, this is Santa Auntie. In this video, we're going to review the things we talked about in class, which were how to ask someone, how was your weekend? And also how to ask and answer, what did you do over the weekend? Now, the third component of this is to ask, what will you be doing over the weekend? And that is going to be a separate lesson and a separate video that you'll see in the future. All right? So to ask someone, how was your weekend in Hindi, we say, आपका weekend कैसा था? आपका weekend कैसा था? But here's the thing, weekend is an English word, not a Hindi word. There is a Hindi word for weekend, and it's this word. And I know that looks a little intimidating, so listen to how I say it and then practice with me. Saptahant. 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 That's how we say weekend. Now here's the thing. I'm teaching you conversational Hindi. So you can use the word saptahant, but honestly, you could also just use the word weekend because in everyday conversational Hindi, that is a word that people understand, okay? But I do think it's important for you to know the Hindi word so that if you ever come across it, you don't get lost. You know what the other person is talking about. So weekend is saptahant, and we are going to be using that word throughout this lesson today. So how was your weekend again is आपका weekend कैसा था, but actually it's आपका सप्ताहांत कैसा था. आपका सप्ताहांत कैसा था. All right? Now, we need to know what category, what noun category saptahant is. Pull or three, meaning boy bucket or girl bucket. Saptahant is a boy bucket or pull noun, okay? And that's important for us to know. That's why the question was आपका सप्ताहांत कैसा था. It was not आपकी सप्ताहांत कैसी थी. If it was a stree noun, it would have been आपकी सप्ताहांत कैसी थी. But that's not correct. That's not how we ask the question because saptahant is a pull noun. आपका सप्ताहांत कैसा था. Now we want to say very simply, my weekend was good. We know how to say my, we know how to say weekend, we know how to say good, and we have learned past tense. मेरा सप्ताहांत अच्छा था. मेरा सप्ताहांत अच्छा था. We could also replace good with other adjectives. My weekend was great. मेरा सप्ताहांत बढ़िया था. मेरा सप्ताहांत बढ़िया था. Or my weekend was okay. मेरा सप्ताहांत ठीक-ठीक था. मेरा सप्ताहांत ठीक-ठीक था. Or my weekend was very good. मेरा सप्ताहांत बहुत अच्छा था. मेरा सप्ताहांत बहुत अच्छा था. So there are a number of ways that we can describe the weekend, right? Okay, now let's move on to talk about what did you do over the weekend? What did you do over the weekend? आपने सप्ताहांत में क्या किया? आपने सप्ताहांत में क्या किया? What did you do over the weekend? Now, this is where it gets interesting because in order to answer the question, we have to recall everything we've learned about verb conjugation and past tense and pull and three nouns and word order, okay? So let's do, I learned how to make cupcakes. There are two verbs in the sentence, learned and to make. Which one of those verbs are we actually going to conjugate? Learned. Because that's the verb that's actually conjugated in the English sentence. To make is in its infinitive form. So we're not going to conjugate that verb. Now, what is to learn in Hindi? Seekhna. Okay? Is it a transitive or an intransitive verb? It's transitive. So if it's a transitive verb, how would we say I? For I learned how to make cupcakes, how would we say I? Maine. Okay, what's cupcake in Hindi? Cupcake. Is it pull or stree? Pull. And how do we say to make in Hindi? The verb to make. Banana. Okay, so now we have everything we need. Finish the sentence. मैंने cupcake बनाना सीखा. मैंने cupcake बनाना सीखा. Now, look at how we conjugated सीखा. Okay, we didn't conjugate it सीखा because the person learning is a boy. From the picture, we see it's a boy learning. That's not why we conjugated it as सीखा. Remember, सीखना is a transitive verb, which means that we conjugate based on the direct object. The direct object is cupcake. Cupcake is a plural singular noun. That's why we conjugated सीखा. मैंने cupcake banana सीखा. Let's do an easier one. We played tennis. What's to play in Hindi? खेलना. Transitive or intransitive? Transitive. So what would we be? हमने. What do you think tennis is in Hindi? How do you think we say that? Tennis. Pullers 3. Pull. So how do we say the sentence? We played tennis. हमने टेनिस खेला. Why isn't it हमने टेनिस खेले? Because remember, like we just said, खेलना is a transitive verb. So there is a direct object, which is tennis. So we conjugate based on the direct object. Tennis is a singular pull noun. So that's why हमने टेनिस खेला. हमने टेनिस खेला. What about this one? I slept a lot. What's to sleep in Hindi? Sona. Transitive or intransitive? Intransitive. So what would I be? मैं. And how do we finish this sentence? I slept a lot. मैं बहुत सोया. मैं बहुत सोया. I slept a lot. Now let's change the sentence for a girl that sang it. Would the sentence change? मैं बहुत सोई. So remember, this is an intransitive verb. For intransitive verbs, there is no direct object. So then we go back to conjugating based on the subject of the sentence, which is the girl. So that's why for intransitive, we conjugate based on the subject of the sentence. For transitive, we conjugate based on the direct object. Now let's talk about the verb to go. To go in Hindi is jana, okay? And we have learned how to conjugate this verb in present tense, present continuous, and future tense, which you see on the screen now. The conjugations for present, present continuous, and future tense. So now let's talk about past tense, okay? Because past tense for the verb to go is actually different. These are the conjugations for to go in past tense. Gaya, gayi, gaye. So it's very similar to how we conjugate this verb in English. Like in English, for present tense, we say, I go to the grocery store after school. Present continuous would be, I am going to the grocery store after school. Future tense would be, I will go to the grocery store after school. So see how we use the word go or going in all of those? But the minute we change it to past tense, I went to the grocery store. So where did the word went come from? How does that sound like go or going? It doesn't. So it's totally different than the other tenses. And the same thing happened in Hindi. For present, present continuous, and future, we all have some variations of the original verb, jana. But the minute we jump to past tense, it changes its form to gaya, gayi, and gaye. All right? So, to go again is jana. If we had the sentence, I went to the Taylor Swift concert. Based on that, can you get a sense, transitive or intransitive on this verb? Does it have a who? Does the sentence have a who? Yes, I. Does it have a what? No. It doesn't have a what. I went what? We can't answer the question what. So therefore, jana is an intransitive verb. All right? So let's do this one. I went to the park, and a female is saying the sentence. I went to the park. मैं पार्क गई. मैं पार्क गई. We went to the park. How would we say this one? हम पार्क गए. हम पार्क गए. So notice we conjugated both of these based on the subject of the sentence. The first one was I, and this one is we. So मैं पार्क गई, because it was a girl that said it, and this one is we went to the park. हम पार्क गए. And there you have it. Now you know how to ask someone and answer the question, how was your weekend? Also how to ask and answer, what did you do over the weekend? So we're going to keep practicing this. I encourage you to keep practicing your past tense. Dhanyavad for joining me. I'll see you in class.